Ann Louise Peterson was born in 1957 in Enid, Oklahoma. At the time, her father was completing his pilot training at Vance Air Force Base, and her mother was teaching high school. Looking back on those early years, Caine recalls living the dream alongside her 4 siblings. As the oldest, who was often responsible for taking care of her younger sisters, she quickly learned what it meant to be a leader. Caine's passion for education began in 1st grade when her favorite teacher, Mrs. Mudd, sent some leftover mimeograph worksheets for her to use while playing school with her Barbie dolls and stuffed animals. Her family moved often throughout her school years, and she graduated from high school in 1975 while living in South Carolina. To this day, the beach, water, and sunshine call to her. Following graduation, Caine attended Kansas State University for her bachelor's degree. It was there she met her future husband, Tracy, who she married in 1979. Caine began her teaching career working with severely emotionally disturbed students in Junction City, Kansas, while also pursuing her graduate degree from Kansas State by taking night classes. In 1981, she proudly earned a Master of Science in Special Education. Shortly after earning her 2nd degree, Caine and her husband became true Okies when they made the move from Kansas to Oklahoma City. Using her previous experience, Caine developed the elementary program for emotionally disturbed students at Moore Public Schools. She taught there for 2 years. During this time, Caine's first child, Laura, was born. Following a difficult year for educators in Moore, in which 473 fellow teachers were laid off, Caine began teaching 5th grade in the Putnam City School District. She and her husband soon welcomed their 2nd child, Chris. 4 years later, she was hired as the arts coordinator for Putnam City Schools. Within 2 years, she was promoted to assistant principal and then named principal of Western Oaks Elementary. Over the next 14 years, she served as principal at Western Oaks and later Harvest Hills Elementary while raising her family. The really fun part of the job was her time with students, which always included crazy stunts and plenty of laughs. Whether she dressed up as a human hot dog, complete with ketchup and mustard, played 3 instruments at once while singing the Oscar Mayer song in her pajamas, or logged 20 miles on the playground track in one day during the school's jogathon, Caine always did it with a smile on her face and with her students' best interests at heart. Through all of this, she drove to Stillwater 2 nights a week for 5 years to pursue her doctorate degree from Oklahoma State University. And yes, she finally realized orange truly is the happiest color. In 1998, Caine received her Doctorate of Education in Educational Administration and joined the Loyal and True Cowboy alumni base. Her time at Oklahoma State and the people she encountered still influence her today, including her advisor and mentor, Dr. Nan Ristine, and committee members Dr. Ed Harris and Dr. Adrian Heil. With guidance from these faculty members and the mentorship from her dad, Caine grew into a successful and strong female leader. Caine returned to Moore Public Schools in 2004 as the Executive Director of Elementary Education and Instruction. She spent 4 years supervising administrators, including overseeing the district's elementary schools, curriculum coordinators, federal programs, library media specialists, and helping with the construction of 2 schools and the passage of a bond election. The lessons she learned and the experiences she gained helped prepare and groom her for her next adventure as superintendent. In 2008, Caine became the first female superintendent for Stillwater Public Schools. During her tenure, the district passed its largest bond election ever, $61.5 million, with a 77% yes vote. In an effort to stay in touch with the classrooms and students, Caine substituted in each school 1 day per year. She was also part of more than 300 collaborations per year that occurred between Oklahoma State and the district. There were numerous awards and successful endeavors over her 7 years as superintendent, including aligned curriculum, improved facilities, and a healthy budget. But for Caine, the most important and meaningful accomplishment was her relationship with and investment in students. The connection she made would last a lifetime, and the small gestures always meant the most. A simple hi from a former student living out his dream, playing Division I college basketball made her day. And watching her students grow into successful young men and women who will undoubtedly impact this world for the better is more fulfilling than Caine can express. Caine formally retired from public education in 2015, and she and her husband moved back to Oklahoma City. But it didn't take long for her to jump back in. She immediately began a new career as the Director of Education Leadership for the Oklahoma State School Boards Association, where she still serves today. From training school boards to working with teachers to creating free online supplemental materials for schools to helping with the annual golf tournament to knowing her work friends so well they both show up to the office in the same outfit, Caine is doing exactly what she loves, helping students and impacting education in Oklahoma. Throughout her nearly 40-year career, her family has remained the most important. Her husband and children, and now 2 grandchildren, Madeline and Charlotte, are the lights of her life. In her spare time, she volunteers at philanthropic and community events, such as the Ronald McDonald Fun Run. And of course, she makes the trip back home to Oklahoma State on a regular basis. If you know her, if you've worked with her, if you've spent any time with her at all, then you have probably heard her say, "We will always make decisions based on what is good for the students." We can all learn something by following her lead and putting the kids first. Patricia Lynn was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1955 to Joe and Joanne Stuver. Both from Lawton, Oklahoma, her parents were first-generation college students. Her father was a nuclear engineering graduate of Notre Dame, and her mother was a chemistry and geology graduate of Southern Methodist University. She and her younger siblings, Anne, Mary, and Hank, grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, until her family moved to Oklahoma City when she was 12 years old. Graff clearly recalls finding her passion to teach at an early age, beginning in the 2nd grade when she was asked to help a fellow student learn to read. From that point on, she found great joy in working with other students, whether tutoring and reading or helping in the school library. She was a natural leader, and her passion for service was evident even as a teenager. At age 16, she was the troop leader for a group of 4th graders, and she spent summers as a counselor at Girl Scout Camp Red Rock. Graff graduated from McGinnis High School in 1972, where she was editor-in-chief of the school newspaper and a National Merit Commended Scholar. Despite coming from a family of mostly Sooner graduates, Graff fell in love with Oklahoma State University after visiting its campus. She knew she wanted to be a teacher, and the OSU College of Education was regarded as having one of the best teacher preparation programs in the state. For her, it was an easy choice. While at OSU, Graff was involved in numerous leadership activities, including the Education Student Council. She served as president and treasurer of the organization and chaired the college's first awards banquet in 1974. Beyond the College of Education, Graff was vice president of the Residence Hall Association, a member of the Homecoming Steering Committee, state vice president of the Oklahoma Education Association Student Program, and an officer for Mortarboard. She also excelled academically, maintaining a perfect 4.0 GPA, and she was recognized as a Redskin Congratulate and honored as one of 5 OSU Outstanding Senior Women. She graduated with her bachelor's degree in 1976 and recalls leaving OSU as one of the hardest things she ever did. It was her time in the College of Education that gave her the ability to do her life's work and propelled her toward a lifetime of teaching and pursuing her passion to help others learn. Shortly after graduating from OSU, Graff began a 37-year career with Albuquerque Public Schools, starting as a substitute teacher. Graff's first full-time position was at Cleveland Middle School, where she taught for 9 years. In 1986, she was selected to participate in the opening of a new school, La Cueva High School. Graff helped design La Cueva from the ground up, including establishing its motto, "Where excellence is a habit." She spent 28 years there, teaching journalism, English, communication, history, humanities, and government. During this time, Graff was a single mom raising 2 sons, Earl Jr. and Jeremy. Both of her boys were students of hers for 4 years, when they served as editors-in-chief for the high school paper. It was a special time for all 3 of them. For most, the highest honor a teacher can hope for is for his or her students to be recognized for their work. This was certainly the case for Graff. In 1993, one of her students was named the National School Journalist of the Year. Graff herself received the National Journalism Teacher of the Year award in 1995. In total, her students were honored with nearly 2,000 awards at the local, state, and national levels for excellence in writing, photography, design, and editorial leadership. In 1994, Graff married her husband, Mark Rumsey. She praises him for his constant support, professionally and personally, and she will tell you he somehow kept a smile on his face even throughout the never-ending teacher banquets and ceremonies. As a classroom teacher, Graff was involved in many professional organizations, making a significant impact in her field. With her work in Scholastic Press, she supported students' press rights. Through her state English teachers group, she founded English Expo, a statewide competition for students grades 6 through 12. She also headed La Cueva High School's National Service Learning Leader School work and received numerous grants supporting students and teacher programs. In 2001, Graff became a National Board Certified teacher. Someone once told her the mark of a good leader was one's ability to train their replacement. This mantra spurred her on to support other teacher candidates, including helping 33 teachers at her school become National Board Certified. She is highly regarded at the state level, having developed teacher candidate programs across New Mexico. Graff's accomplishments reached national proportions in 1998 when she was recognized as Disney's English Teacher of the Year, and again in 2006 when she was inducted into the National Teacher Hall of Fame, the first New Mexico teacher to receive the honor. In 2010, Graff earned her Master of Arts in Reflective Pilot from the University of New Mexico. After 5 intense semesters, she graduated with a 4.0 GPA and was the college's commencement speaker. Graff was one of the last original La Cueva staff to retire in 2013, but retirement was short-lived. Almost immediately, Graff was offered the opportunity to help write and coordinate a $1.5 million federal grant to support Albuquerque teachers pursuing National Board certification. For 3 years, she built candidate support programs, created teacher leadership initiatives and grant opportunities, and networked with sites across the country. After securing another $1 million for the grant to be extended statewide, Graff stepped down. However, her tireless dedication and commitment to students and teachers remains. To this day, she continues to work with teacher candidates in rural areas of New Mexico, including the Bureau of Indian Education. Graff now spends as much time as possible traveling and enjoying life with Mark, her husband of 24 years, and her 7 grandkids. She finds teachable moments with her little legacies everywhere they go. To read an atlas, to understand the history of George Washington while visiting Mount Vernon, to revel in the grandeur of a recovering Mount St. Helens, to value their personal heritage, to what it means to be an OSU cowboy. Her husband can't help but smile when he hears his wife create yet another teachable moment, telling the grandkids, "Pat Grandma is always teaching, lucky you." She, however, would say, "Lucky me." Graff found her calling early on and was able to pursue it with as much energy as she could muster for most of her life. She credits much of her success as a teacher to the work ethic and positivity instilled in her during her 4 years at Oklahoma State. In her heart, she never really left that magical place, and she will forever have a deep gratitude every time she steps back on campus.